I'm just looking at the time. Okay, so okay, so a very good welcome. Let's start and dive. And I'm really glad you are all able to join the MHM Education Guide launch webinar. My name is Ina Jurga, and many of you might know me as the International Coordinator for Menstrual Hygiene Day, the day that WASH United initiated, but I'm also head of our education programs. With me today is Katja Kisi. She's the Senior Partnerships Manager, and maybe yes, she's waving. And together with her, we will facilitate the webinar today. And also there is Sana Lokhandwala. She's our MHM consultant and expert based in Pakistan. She's maintaining the chat box for all your questions, and she has really also helped us to create this webinar and support us in there. So she's also there with us. And yeah, so last week we had a very exciting day because we launched the MHM Education Guide to the public, and we thought it's also good to have a webinar to explain a little bit more, to make this website a bit more lively for you. So I'm really glad you could join this webinar. Well, let's start with a meet and greet, so we all get to know each other. Please share in the chat box your name, your organization, the country, and also we would be interested in your MHM work that you're already doing. So just use the time. And I think also we are so used to these webinars, I don't have to necessarily repeat the good practices by staying muted. You can raise your hand. You can use the chat box, of course, where Sana is there to answer all your questions. And we have time at the end for open questions. So that's all good. So yeah, turn on your video off and on. If you want to save bandwidth, it's totally fine to turn it off for now. Great. The agenda for today is really for you to provide an introduction to the MHM Education Guide. And we want to also show you what makes the MHM Education Guide stand out or different to other tools out there. We want to share with you the impact, and we have success stories to share from partners. And I already see some partners have already logged in, from Splash and Viva Con Agua, Uganda, Watoto Wasoka, who are telling you then all about it. So very excited to have them here with us. Then I hand over to Katja, who's diving a little bit deeper into what we offer and what the offer is to you. And we have time for question and answers. So we will not take more than an hour. We'll try to be short and snappy. Yeah, maybe Katja, you want to launch the poll first, because we're really interested in if you already saw the website and how you have used it. So Katja, maybe you can unmute yourself and launch the poll.
Great, thanks, Ina. Yeah, I've gone ahead and launched the poll. So really, we'd like to see if you visited our MHM education website. If you have, if you signed up for the preview version, if you signed up for one of the packages, if you were at the website but just wanted to gather information, or if you've not visited the website but wanted to come to this session first and then learn some more about the guide. So thank you for filling out the poll. I'll leave it now open for a little while as people get logged on. From what I'm seeing from some earlier results, it looks like about 30% have visited the website and downloaded the preview version of the guide.
Oh, great.
17% have already downloaded one of the packages. 17% have gone to the website to just check it out. And about 40% haven't visited the guide, but they're now curious. Haven't visited the website, but they're now curious to learn more about the guide.
Super.
Yeah.
And then you're completely perfect to join this webinar today. So that's exactly what this webinar is about. Katja, maybe you can share the results so that we can move on.
Okay.
I can't see them, so you need to let me know once you're...
Okay, I have shared the results. And I'm going to stop sharing so that we can now move on. So go ahead, Ina.
Super. Okay. So we would like to start a little bit with our journey into MHM education. So as you might know, Wash United is an organization that works a lot with play and play-based learning. So we started also in 2013 with a play-based learning approach to MHM education. So here you can see pictures of our teams in Africa, that's Beverly, and also through a training in Andhra Pradesh. And then again, below a training in that's also in Kenya, where we then made small modifications to our approach. So that was really great trainings that we had, but we also suffered a little bit from typical challenges. So two very critical challenges that we face is, number one, the costs of procurement, this beautiful, beautiful materials that you can see here. And second, that we always were faced with skills and capacities of trainers other than us. So once we handed over the tools to trainers, they became often not very confident in training, and also the content was very complex, like to explain the cycle, the reproductive system, and so on. So these were like two of the main challenges. But we also wanted to really make our tools available to everyone, and thus we radically rethought how we could deliver MHM education guide for our partners. So what kind of tools and product is needed? So from 2018 onwards, we then started to develop our MHM education guide that you then also eventually saw on the website. It's in India, it's called Ruby's World. In Africa, it's called Rosie's World. It's just a booklet. And I'm going to explain you a little bit more about the principles and why it is how it is a little bit later. And since last week, we took another big step by launching the website. And through this website, we now make these tools accessible to everyone who wants to undertake MHM education with girls. So we really let go and enabled partners now to start doing this very simply by just logging in through the website. So when we developed the MHM education guide in 2018, it was very clear that we wanted to use a user-centered design process. This puts the users, and these are like the girls, but also the trainers, teachers, at the center of the development. So with them, we choose the methodology, which I'm going to explain later. With them, we also checked which design they prefer. Do they prefer a more traditional design? Do they prefer which colors and which layout? And you already had a glimpse how it looked like. The content in the guide is tested and developed with girls so that they enjoy what it's in there. And then once we had the first version, we made improvement based on the feedback by the trainers, teachers, and girls. And here you can see some images during the research and development phase in India, and also the revision phase in Africa, where we pinned with girls the different topics. So some good impressions there. And the final product is, as I said, it's simply a booklet. And the booklet is, yeah, we feel is very nicely designed, but it contains basically, so it looks like this, and that makes it very low cost. The methodology that was chosen by our girls and trainers is a story. It's a story of a girl called Ruby or Rosie, respectively, that can be simply read out. It's and within this story, there are games and activities woven into it. So the story follow Ruby and Rosie in her experience through menstruation. And then games and activities increase the learning and gets another perspective. So here, the trainer can just simply use the guide and read it out, which makes it extremely easy. And then here you can see some activities like a drawing exercise and a very popular game called the Red Yarn game. So with that, we felt it makes it very fun and attractive for trainers, but also girls alike. And what makes the MHM education guide stand out? So first of all, I just want to acknowledge that there are a lot of good education tools out there. So developed by some of you already. And we appreciate all those tools. So when we started to develop, we set out some few principles that are a little bit different, or makes the guide a bit distinct. So just to say, we appreciate other tools, and we feel that the education guide fills in a kind of a gap at a certain level that you know. So first of all, we wanted to make it fun to use. So you saw the story and the activities makes it really interesting for girls to follow, because it's really so close to their reality and easy to use. As I emphasized, that one of the big challenges was that trainers usually requires a lot of capacities to deliver health-wise content, but we wanted to make it so easy to use and so that everyone can use it. And I think we accomplished that by having everything included in the story. So you just need to take the guide and read the story, and all the information is in there. So you don't have to be a health expert. You don't have to be a menstrual health expert, health and hygiene expert. It's as easy as that. The third point came from feedback from schools. They often have really limited time to do extra training, or an NGO comes in a school and they get only an allocated slot. So it had to be very compact, and compact means also very short. So to deliver this in maximum 2 hours, if possible, of course you can split it, but in case the 2 hours, you had to really focus on the essential information and not everything. So you can always do more. And I think that's also for me a key message. So first, the compact is the essentials, and you can always do more. Make it very, very low cost. So as you saw, we had very nice tools, but these always takes time and money to procure, and also transport. And we wanted to make it so low cost as possible. So for every class or for every school, you need just this booklet, and then materials such as stationery and paper, so which are usually available in schools or with kids anyhow. The only extra thing that you need is a ball of yarn and a scissor. So that's it, and nothing else. We wanted to make it adaptable for different regions and project setups. Because it's so easy, compact, and low cost, you can do it as a standalone version, but also, for example, integrated in any kind of other thematic programs, like being at a WASH program, or a program in comprehensive sexuality education, or sports for development. So really catering for different projects and different regions. So I'll explain a little bit more. And last but not least, we did not brand it with our logo, and that shows our commitment to make the guide accessible to you. So to increase ownership, because we really wanted to not say that this is the WASH United MHM education guide. You are there to train girls, and you are the key contact persons for schools, for the girls, and it's not us here based in Berlin. So we completely let go. Yeah, just make it yours. Yeah, there's even an opportunity to attach your logo to the cover in the version, and Katja will tell you more. But that was also very, very important to us. Another important thing that we wanted to achieve is the results. So what are the changes that the impact we want to achieve and the vision? So we call it the 3 E's. And the first E, I think it's very clear. It's like educating girls. So girls will gain important basic knowledge which help them to make informed choices around periods and their menstrual health and hygiene. The next 2 E's were extremely important to us, and I think that also makes it a little bit distinct to some of the other tools out there. So the second E is empowerment. So girls will be able to make choices for themselves and stand by them, especially around the aspect of myths and taboos, which is so tricky. They don't necessarily have to solve them, but start thinking about them and questioning them. So really don't let periods stop them, but empower them. And the last point, engagement. The girls, yeah, they leave the sessions and we're really confident what we saw. And we want them after that to be motivated and never shy again to ask for support and also support others. And that's really important because many of us as NGOs, we come into a school and we train girls and then we leave and then they're left with their questions. And they will have continued questions around their periods, right? So if they are motivated through the training and not shy anymore, they start to ask their peers or they start to ask their teachers and vice versa, they get asked. So within the story and through these activities, especially the red yarn game that you saw, there's really a sense of, we create a sense of support, which is so wonderful. Within the story, we included shifts, and that was also an underlining narrative. So when we thought what shifts we want to achieve from the girl who started before and after the training, we wanted to move that they see periods are something abnormal and to something very, very normal. Shame, which is usually around the period, like true understanding. They often feel very lonely, and you probably agree that girls say, oh, this is only happening to me because they hardly talk about it, but to really get to a sense of togetherness, as I said, like engagement. And often they're very discreet and they don't want to talk about it, the issue. And we want to make them vocal so that they start talking about it, be positive, but also addressing the issues that they face. Many girls in countries feel restricted through different taboos and myths. So also we want to show them there are no more limits when you have your period. To see, now I talked a little bit of theory, but I really would like to show a video that is from our program. I stopped sharing and I switched to the video in the meantime to show from our program in Andhra Pradesh that we did with the local government there on what this actually means when I talked about the 3 E's and the shifts and the principles of the guide. So let me show you this very small but very beautiful movie. And Katja, Sana, let me know if you can see it and if you can hear the voice tone.
Ina?
Yeah?
Right now you have the Splash India slide up.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Give me a second and then I'll change the video. That's strange because I had the video on. Okay. Let me reshare. There it comes. Sorry for the small glitch.
ऋतुक्रमम నెలసారి बड़ी होना महिला डेट and period also periods minute
Unfortunately, I can't hear the video. Can everyone hear it? Ina,
No,
can
I
you
can't hear
unmute?
the video.
I
Ina,
can't either.
Ina, can you unmute yourself so we can hear the video? I think by
Yeah.
muting, turned off the sound. Ina, can you unmute yourself so we can hear the video?
Should I start in the beginning? I thought.
Yes, yes, start again,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, you should have notified me and waved a little bit earlier. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's start here. I'm very sorry. I didn't notice. I thought I mute myself and help.
Date and period also. Periods. Minute. రూబీ ముందుగా తెలుసుకొని వాళ్ళ అక్క వాళ్ళకి ఎలా వచ్చిందో ఇప్పుడు రూబీ ప్రపంచంలో తన అక్క వాళ్ళకి అంత ముందు అయిపోయింది. తను తెలుసుకుంది కాబట్టి నెక్స్ట్ తను పీరియడ్ వచ్చినప్పుడు తను సేవ్ చేసుకోగలిగింది. కాబట్టి మనం ముందుగా తెలుసుకుంటే మనకు చాలా అవసరం. In 7th class, I got first period. I was shocked and feared, madam. First, I also cried so much. నాకు ఫస్ట్ టైం వచ్చినప్పుడు నాకు చాలా భయంగా అనిపించింది. ఫ్రెండ్స్తో నా ఫీలింగ్స్ని షేర్ చేసుకున్నాను. I did not tell to anybody. With my sister also, I did not share that feeling.
See, girls are very interested during the activities as this is in a type of story. Feeling happy to draw their own images beautifully and colorfully.
నన్ను చిన్నపిల్లగా బొమ్మ వేయించడం పెద్ద పిల్లగా బొమ్మ వేయించడం నాకు బాగా నచ్చింది.
యవన దశలో వచ్చే మార్పులు కూడా అంటే నోటితో చెప్పాలంటే సిగ్గుపడేవాళ్ళు. మార్పులన్నీ పేపర్ మీద గీయటం చాలా చక్కగా వివరించారు.
నార్మల్ పేరెంట్స్ అంటారు కదా ఇలా చేయకూడదు పక్కకు కూర్చోవాలంటారు కదా కానీ మనం ఆ పని చేయాలన్న ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కలుగుతుంది మ్యామ్. కొన్ని ఆచారాలు పాటిస్తూ ఉంటారు. అంటే గుడికి వెళ్ళకూడదు, న్యూ క్లాత్స్ వేసుకోకూడదు, ఫ్రూట్స్ తినకూడదు, పూలు పెట్టుకోకూడదు, అండ్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ అలౌడ్ టు కమ్ అవుట్ టు ప్లే. అంటే నువ్వు వంటగదిలో కూడా వెళ్తావా? అమ్మ ముంబైలో పని చేస్తుంది. నాకు నేను వండించుకోకపోతే తినలేను. మా నాన్నకి అసలే పని ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది.
ఆరుషి సరైన విధంగానే ప్రవర్తిస్తుందా లేదా?
This is surprising for me and I will tell to others. That's we can do dancing and we can play every game.
Before this training, even I used to feel shy to tell about this even to my mother. Now I am teaching to some others about this without feeling any shy.
Like when the wool activity is going on, wonderful answers came out of the students.
During period, we can touch plants. During period, we can dance.
I think that even myself, I am interested to participate in that activity.
ఏదన్నా అందరం కలిసి ఒక పని చేసినప్పుడు ఒకలాగా ఉంటుంది, ఒకళ్ళు చేసినప్పుడు ఇంకోలాగా ఉంటుంది. This program is conducting in residential schools and some other schools. Students will aware, and next they talk with their aunties, mothers, and their sisters, their neighbors. So they will change themselves. It is important.
Okay, sorry again for the small glitch at the beginning, but I think it was really worth sharing the video because it also even showed that young girls were using the story to read it for others, so making it that easy, and you get an impression how some of the different games look like that are included. Now for a big question. So what impact did you had so far? So we reached more than 1.6 million girls in 2018 through always working with partners and through partners. So in India, we had a range of partners, including Slum Soccer, ASCII, the government of Andhra Pradesh, and Going to School and Splash. In Africa, we worked with the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scout, also Splash, Adhuto Vasoka. In Iraq, we work with the Red Cross. So, and maybe also in the future with you. The evaluation results that are either from external evaluation and also from internal evaluation, I ordered them according to the 3 E's. So you can really see that the results show that girls are educated, empowered, and engaged, and both in quantifiable and qualitative results. So I won't go through all of this because I guess you can read, but it really shows. And what I really liked, that girls were really saying that it was a taboo for them, but now they understand and also share this with others. So that's exactly what we dreamed of. And we also collected feedback from trainers, how they liked the guide and how easy it was for them to use. And also here we have great feedback from them that they enjoyed it very much and that it's also fun for the girls and themselves. So, and I guess in the video you already saw also some of the trainers were like teachers in India were super motivated. And instead of me always talking, we would love to share some success stories from some of our partners, and that you see how diverse they already use the MHM Education Guide in their programs. So the first presentation, and Belen, I'm asking you, do you want to present or do you prefer to show the video? So we have the first partner that we have is Splash in India and Ethiopia. Splash is a Seattle-based NGO that has operations in Addis in Ethiopia and in Calcutta in India for their menstrual health program. And I'm very glad to have also Belen with us today. However, we did a pre-recording with her because we're never so sure about the internet in Ethiopia. So I'm, Belen, I hope it's okay that I play the video. I guess, yes. See that because of that case, we made the changes to that. 1 second, I'll need to switch the video. And give me 1 second again. That now it closed. Open file. Now it disappeared. Give one second. This technology is never, there it is, as it should. And now I'll share it and now you can see it. So Splash has done with, as I said, they have an extensive menstrual health program. So therefore, we really wanted to feature them as one of our partners. So yeah, over to Belen, who is the program manager for the menstrual health programming in Addis. And thank you for joining the webinar.
And thank you very much, Ina. It's my pleasure. And Splash and Wash United have been working together on the adaptation of the MHM Education Guide, both for Ethiopia and India, in the last 3 years. And as Ina mentioned, we adopted the Albas Wordlet, which means flower for the Ethiopian one, and also adopted the Ruby's Word for the Indian version. And following the existence of COVID pandemic, we also developed a one-pager guide to modify some of the activities to reduce the spread of COVID-19 while piloting and also implementing the guide. And in Ethiopia, we were able to pilot the MHM education guide in 11 schools, and we reached 22 female teachers and 296 female gender champions. And following our curriculum pilot, what we did was we conducted our evaluation assessment based on the MLE tool, which was developed by Wash United to measure. Oh, sorry, can I repeat it once?
Of course. 1 second. So I'll switch over. Okay.
Hopefully, we will launch our social ecosystem material by the end of this year. And these are from my side. Thank you very much, Ina.
1 second. I'll need to switch.
Pilot and launch the Ruby's Forest curriculum once the school reopens. In addition to the MHM education guide, Splash has developed the social ecosystem program to leverage the social ecosystem surrounding menstruating girls to create a more enabling environment for school girls. In this regard, we developed 3 different materials. These are peer mentoring, parent engagement, and voice workshop. We develop all our social ecosystem materials through human-centered design approach. So the first guide is peer mentoring guide. We developed this peer mentoring guide with the title of Growing Up Together, so that to increase the social support among the girls and also to shift norms and reduce MH stigma. In addition, we also want to build the girls' confidence to manage their menstruation with dignity and comfort. Our second material is called We Can Be Hero. This material is developed for boys to increase their level of knowledge about puberty and menstruation, and also to empower them to be a supporter of their female allies. And our third material is a parent engagement guide. As you can see in the diagram, it says, be her friend, help her to grow. So we designed this material for parents to increase their self-efficacy, to support their children through providing the necessary information and also any additional supports through their children's puberty and menstruation period times. So these are the materials that we are currently working on developing on. Hopefully we will launch our social ecosystem material by the end of this year. And these are from my side. Thank you very much, Ina.
Thank you, Belen. This is amazing material, and we love, as you said, it's an ecosystem for the girls with Albeba's world at the core, or Ruby's world, and then you branch out. And yeah, We Can Be Heroes I really love because it's a famous song by David Bowie. I have one question for you about the gender club champions. Can you explain a little bit? Who are those?
Okay, thank you. Gender club champions are female students who are a member of the gender clubs who are working to improve the menstrual health practice of the school girls. So what we will do is we train gender club students in a minimum 25 to 30 girls will be trained in the school through the Awas World Story. Then once we have trained them, the girls will be empowered to teach the schools, the other girls in the school through the developed the Take Action Guide. So these are the girls who will serve as our image champions through providing the necessary information and also through creating a supportive environment for girls in collaboration with the teachers, boys, the parents.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Belen, so much. And you're here, so please type in your email in the chat box if people have questions related to your program and the social ecosystem. Thank you so much. The next program we implemented that we also want to highlight is the program with the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts and across 9 countries in Africa that was rolled out through the Youth Exchange South to South program. In the initial program, we had trained 90 young women leaders who then delivered the guide to an amazing number of 44th and more Girl Scouts as part of their Red Pride project. And then again, these girls empowered other girls, reaching further 34,000 peers with MHM messaging. What I really love about this program is that you see that the guide is so fun and empowering even for peers, that and they loved it and they can implement, so it's as easy as that. And they really established a big movement also around MH Day when they campaigned online. We have another dear partner of us. They're called Slum Soccer, and I think Mahima, she was here, I know, but now I don't know if she still is. Katja, do you see Mahima?
I'm looking, but I don't see her on at the moment. Maybe her connection got cut.
Yeah. So Slum Soccer is a sport for development organization in Nagpur, India. And they were part of the research and development phase to develop Ruby's World. So some of the real life story of girls in Nagpur were merged into the story of Ruby and her friends. So they are real life experiences. In the initial project, they reached 22 schools with close to 7,000 girls, but they also continued their program further on. And what I also like to show you how they used it to extend. Also, they have extensions to the program, like football-based MHM games. They do sport exercises like yoga. And of course, part of their general program is life skills lessons through football. So here it's very, very integrated in what they do anyway. And they're celebrating MH Day every year, so it's very wonderful. Just to highlight, and Zana will paste the link into the chat box. So on 22nd of September, Mahima is going to speak at a webinar from the Period Posse around menstruation and sport, where she tells you a little bit more in detail about what Slum Soccer is doing with period education. And the fourth example we have from Watoto Wasoka, but I saw is Berna is here, and I put her just a little bit on the spot. Berna, if you would like to share, and you're already unmuted, on your program, that would be fantastic. Over to you, Berna.
Thank you, Ina. Hi, everyone. My name is Berna and I work with Viva Con Agua. And Viva Con Agua is a WASH organization existing in many countries, but in Uganda, we work with Watoto Wasoka, a local partner, to deliver football programs that educate young girls and boys about sanitation and hygiene. And one of the projects we do is an MHM education program for young girls from 9 to 14 years in communities and schools. So I happen to be one of the INAZ students from Busia in 2019, where we learned about using the MHM guide and Rosie's World. And since November 2020, we've already worked in 20 communities in Kampala and surrounding areas. And with this project, we've reached over 800 girls in 20 communities. And besides teaching them or taking them through Rosie's World activities and reading the story of Rosie to them, we also offer panties to them, pads, laundry soap, bathing soap, pegs, and everything, so we can support them to manage their menstruation with dignity. So on top of that, with this program, we want to build changing rooms for girls where they can have their, where they can go through menstruation with dignity, but also with privacy. And we've already started visiting sites in communities, in different communities in Kampala, where we will have these changing rooms constructed. And on top of that, we've delivered over 20 disposal buckets to the different communities we've worked with. And in the next few months, we'll also reach out to different communities in Kampala to organize a train of trainees program for them so they can reach out to the communities themselves. One of the things we noticed is that Viva Konagwa and Watoto Wasoka, we've been going to these communities ourselves and we believe it is not sustainable. So we decided in the coming months, we should organize a train of trainees for the people who spend more time with these girls so they can be able to deliver this education to the girls themselves. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Berna, for being so spontaneous, and congratulations to the program. Yeah, so what you all saw in all those 4 examples is that programs differ very much in terms of approaches and extensions and other program components, and that this is really flexible to use. So I hope that motivate you a little bit. So I'm handing over to Katja to tell you a little bit what is on offer, especially to those who haven't visited the website yet. Katja, over to you.
Excellent, great. Thank you so much, Ina, for providing an overview of the guide, and thank you to our partners for sharing some more about your experiences using the guide in your program. I hope this has given everyone on the call today a good sense of the guide and really helps you to think about whether or not it will work for you in your programs and the work you're doing on MHM. I'm now going to talk to you today about our offer and what you'll find when you go to our website to sign up for the guide. So as Ina mentioned, the MHM Education Guide is adaptable and adjustable to different languages and different regions. And when you go onto the website, you will find 4 versions of the guide available. For South Asia, you'll find Ruby's World available in English and Hindi. And for Sub-Saharan Africa, you'll find Rosie's World available in English and French. These are the versions that are readily available, but we also have additional versions that we are working on, additional language versions, and also regional versions that are either in process or that we can make available to you upon request. So for South Asia, we have Ruby's World available in Marathi, Telugu, and Bengali, and we have other languages in process. For Rosie's World in Sub-Saharan Africa, we have a Kiswahili version and an Amharic version. And we've also worked together with the French Red Cross to develop an Arabic version of the guide that's currently being used in Iraq. So if you go to the website and you cannot find the language version you're interested in or the regional version you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is on the website, and I can let you know if we have an additional language version or another regional version available that we can share with you. So when you sign up for the MHM Education Guide, you don't just get the guide, you actually get 3 additional documents as well. And these additional documents are to help you implement the guide. The first one is our MHM resource book, which is really meant for trainers when they're using the guide. The MHM resource book provides in-depth information about menstruation and MHM and has answers to questions that may come up from girls during the session. It also has facilitation tips to help the trainers with specific activities and to help facilitate when they're going through the story. In addition to that, you'll also receive a training of trainers manual. And this is a guide that will allow you to hold a training of trainers session on the use of the guide. So yeah, so if you want to not just have your staff use the guide, but also train others in schools or in the communities themselves, this can also be a really useful resource. And then finally, you'll also receive a monitoring, evaluation, and learning toolkit that provides you with various different tools that you can use to assess the results of your project. And what's important to note is that we don't prescribe any one monitoring or evaluation tool, but there are several tools that you can use and you can select based on the project setup you have and based on the resources that you have available. So when you then go to the website and you want to sign up for the guide, you'll notice that we have various packages available to you to select from. If you don't have an ongoing or planned project to educate girls on MHM, and you're not sure about the guide, if you want to get to know the content better, then I really recommend that you download the preview version of the guide. This guide will be made immediately available to you, and it is actually the full version of the guide. It's just a low resolution version and it's watermarked so that it can't be used in program implementation, but it can be used if you want to review the content and if you want to test it with your teams or staff. If you do have an ongoing or planned MHM project and you've taken a look at the guide and you've decided you do want to use it in a project, then we have 3 different packages for you. We have the free standard package, the individual support package, and the custom package. And I'm now going to walk you through these different packages. So the free standard package allows you to access the MHM education guide plus all the accompanying materials free of charge if you have a planned or ongoing MHM project. In addition to these resources, you'll also have access to public capacity building webinars, which we plan to start holding regularly. And the first one we plan to hold in October. And you'll also receive our newsletter and regular updates on the guide. Our individual support package is a step up from the free standard package, and you can access this package for $400 a year. You'll receive the same resources as the free standard package, but through this support package, you'll receive more support services throughout the year. This means that in addition to the public capacity building webinars, you can have your own individual capacity building webinar for you and your staff. We'll also be in much more regular contact with you through emails and calls so that we can provide you with support during implementation, but also answer any questions that may come up and talk to your trainers or anyone on staff that you think that would be helpful. And in addition to receiving our newsletter and updates, you'll also be featured on our social media channel. And finally, if neither of those packages are the right fit for you, you can always sign up for a custom package. And this is really if you're looking for some customized content or if you want some more individualized support services. So in terms of customized content, Ina already mentioned, you can have your logo integrated onto the materials. If you don't find the language version you're looking for, we can look at how we can develop together a new language version of the guide. If there's any additional content that you'd like that you don't feel is included in the guide, or if you'd like to customize some of the content that already exists to your specific project in the area, this is something we can also work on through a custom package. In terms of support, we can also provide individual capacity building webinars, as well as in-person training by certified master trainers, and any sort of refresher training and support as you're implementing. So if you're looking to customize the guide, then you're welcome to reach out to us and tell us what your project needs are, and we'll work together with you to create a package that meets those needs. So with all of those packages, we also ask for a commitment from you in return for using the guide. As I've mentioned throughout, to use the guide free of charge, you must have a planned or ongoing project to educate girls on MHM. For all packages, we also request that you provide feedback on the results of your project within 2 months of its completion, so we can understand how the guide has been used and its impact. We'll send you a very simple reporting form that you can fill out and share that information with us. And in addition, when you sign up for the guide, you agree to not make any changes to the guide, to not extract any part of the guide or use any single activities from the guide, and to not share the guide with third party without prior permission from us. I think it's also important to mention that the guide is not for commercial use. So while we're happy for businesses to use the guide in their social impact programs, the guide is not meant to be used for commercial purposes. So that was a very quick rundown of the various packages you can find on our website and more information about how you can access the guide. We have about 10 minutes left, so I'd love to open the floor now to any questions that you have.
Sana, were there any questions, so to make it easy, in the chat box that you would like to share with us? Maybe that's easy. Maybe there are several questions.
Hi everyone. Ina, so no, there aren't a lot of questions. Just one recent question that came up was, how can I get the Rosie World book and the MHMD source book? I have answered the question in the chat, but if you, want to address it.
Sure. So really, if you're interested in accessing Rosie's World or any of the versions of the guide, you just head to our website and you'll see on our website there are buttons that you can push to get access to a form where you can register and for the guide, where you can share some more information about your project with us, how you plan to use it, and then we'll share the guide with you. So it's a really relatively smooth process, I hope. That was our goal, to make it as easy as possible for you all to sign up and get access to the guide. So yeah, please check out our website, and there you'll be able to sign up for the guide.
Great. If there's another question, maybe you can use the raise hand function or like a function, and then we can see if there's any question to unmute you. I can't see. Jacqueline, okay, I'll unmute you. Should be.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm Jacqueline. I'm founder and executive director for iSanitize here in Zambia. We work more in menstrual hygiene management, WASH, sexual reproductive health and rights for school learners, strictly school learners. So young people from the age of 9 and up to about 19 years of age. And I think that your presentation is excellent, and the material itself will be very useful in Zambia. However, I would like to know how we could become full partners of WASH United, what the procedures are, number one. And then number two, if we have to customize the guide and the toolkit to the Zambian setup, how do we go about that? Thank you very much.
So maybe I can answer number 2 and Katja number 1. So for the customization, there is generally no need for customization, because I think even the Girl Guides used it in Zambia, yeah, so it's been used there. And we try to make it really compact and useful. And we also ask you not to, as I said, not to change much of this, like the story and the games, because it's been tested, and then we're very confident that it works like this. What we can recommend is to do extensions if you want, like if you want to include, for example, pad making, or want to dive into more in-depth topics like menstrual cup use, you can always make extensions on your own. But in terms of the story, our feedback was so far that it works really universally across the 9 African countries that we've used it. Katja, you want to talk something about the partnership?
Sure. I mean, I think when anyone signs up to use the guide, we see that as a partnership. You know, our role in the partnership is providing the guide and the materials, and then also some support through the capacity building webinars or updates. And that's really our role in the partnership, is to provide the materials and provide support. And as we see how the guide is implemented, of course, we love to highlight the experiences and share that with other organizations who are using that. So that's really sort of the extent for a more extensive partnership, that would be sort of a additional conversation. But that's the way we view the partnership, is working together and us providing the materials and content to support you as you're implementing the project and educating girls on MHM.
I can see Natasha also had a question.
Yes, thank you, Ina. Thank you to all of you, and thank you for this great event. I'm coming from Macedonia, from Journalists for Human Rights. We follow your work and we participate very often in that celebration of menstrual day. But as I can see that you work dominantly in Asia and in Africa, and I want to appeal or to invite you to work also in this part of the world, because just an illustration, more than 20% of the women in our country, they cannot buy the pads. They use the paper, or they use the newspaper for managing the menstrual health. The 75% of the girl from urban and 95% from girl in rural area do not go to school every month due to lack a few days during the month due to lack of conditions. We make almost each year the research about the conditions and about the menstrual poverty, and I can tell you that each year the situation is not better. Unfortunately, it's worse. For the first time on the beginning of this year, the Croatian NGO make one research, and the results is totally the same as in North Macedonia. The situation in Albania and Kosovo, as well in the south of Serbia, where when we also work, the situation, believe me, it's very bad, especially now after the COVID, or it's not still after the COVID, but in this pandemic situation, that I know that the situation maybe in Asia, in Africa, it's very bad, but believe me that the here is also that I invite you to work together. Unfortunately, this year we didn't meet each other in Stockholm, but maybe next time we can have a possibility to talk personally.
Yeah, thank you, Natasha. I follow your MHD events and your data, and first of all, congratulations for your continuous work to raise awareness on the issue in the region. I think it's important, and we know you shared why it's important. So we're currently adapting also the guide for Germany because also education is really lacking or not very modern. I think to adapt it to a different region, there is always need for funding. If there's a possibility that we can fundraise, or you have funding, or we can fundraise something, then yeah. So for now, it's not planned, but if funding is available, yeah, we would love to expand it to other regions as well. And that's the same for the question around translations. So we always used partners or work with partners for translations or with external agencies. So it really much depends on the language as well, on the region. And for this is exactly what the customized package is for. And then best is to get in touch with Katja to discuss these options. I can see there's also Lucy who has raised her hand. And Lucy, I think you should be able to speak if you have a question.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi, everyone. I'm actually one of the Roses World trainers from Malawi Girl Guides Association. And the WAGs. So Roses World through Red Pride is really a good guide to use. And I have a copy with me here. Thank you very much. I gladly always refer to it, especially with the games and everything, because I work with girls with disabilities. So, you know, there are so many categories of disabilities, and I kind of want to engage. So I use those games to keep them active, to do things at the same time we are sending the message home. I'm just wondering if it's okay to make available the booklet for others to use, because there are several others that are there working in MHM and don't really have a good resource book to use. But if we've been given the permission to do so, then we can gladly share it widely. Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Lucy. That's wonderful. I don't know if we met in Malawi, but the Malawi Girl Guides.
I wanted to recommend the booklet for use and also ask for permission if we can make it available for others.
Katja, do you want to answer?
Yeah, thanks, Lucy. Thank you also for the update on your work. That sounds really amazing. I'm so glad you're using the guide. For us, what we are happy for others to use the guide, but we would really love for them, it's important that they register for the guide on the website so we can understand the impact, understand how the guide is being used, and also get feedback on the guide so we can continually improve it. So I would love it if you could refer the people who are interested in using the guide to our website. They can sign up, and then I will share the guide with them. So that for us is the best, because we really want to make sure we're understanding how the guide is used, tracking how many girls are trained, tracking input.
Thanks. But then some of them would.
Sorry, Lucy, you're breaking up. I can't hear you anymore.
I recognized, I think the connectivity went very bad.
Now it's good. Now it's good.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, so for those that are able to access the website, that's easy to connect to ask them to sign up. But then maybe for the others that may not be able maybe to access the website, well, I can take the responsibility and sign them up. Maybe that would be easy.
Or Lucy, maybe you can send an email to me with their information, and then I can engage with them over email if that is a possibility, and send it to them that way.
I'll say yes for that.
Yeah, that might be another way. If the website doesn't work, I'm happy to engage with them over email. So if you want to
email.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucy.
We're almost close to we're almost over the hour. Is there any more burning questions? Then I can see still some raised hands. Zana, did you raise your hands?
Yes, so there's one question in the chat box. I'll just read out the question to you. Can you get the guide in Kiswahili with the images from the Arabic version? Our girls in Zanzibar are majority Muslims.
I think we had a similar request also from Sudan, where using the Arabic guide with the African image. It would be good to send a follow-up email to Katja. It requires a little bit of work, of course, for the layout, and Arabic is difficult. But if we understand by when you need it and if what kind of work it entails, best to clarify and exchange this a little bit with Katja, because if it's very, very urgent, then it's different than if you have some time and it's not as urgent and we can find a solution somehow.
I think the short answer is the current Kiswahili version is not with the images from the Arabic version. So that would have to be something that is adjusted. So that's just to say it's not available at present in that format. And it's something we would have to see about how long that would take and the resources that would be needed to do that.
Exactly. But if you write a little bit more information by we can maybe figure, if it's not urgent, we can figure out a way. There's a Zoom user guest who is still raised at hand. I don't know who this is. I just asked to unmute, and maybe we have a final question.
Hello.
Hi.
This is BK from Nepal.
Hello.
It was very good session. Unfortunately, I could not join early, so I might have missed some of your information. But I have gone through this guide, and it was very useful for our country as well. And at the same time, we are also in the process of developing a teacher's guide as a resource. We are, and this was right on time, in fact. And we were just wondering that, whether we can somehow, well, this will have to be in Nepali, that's for sure, in national language, which you were a little bit discussing about, and how can we really make that in Nepali or in other, language as well. And that is, shall we sort of, can we translate this ourselves, or it will have to be like, as you say, past partnership you're talking about?
Okay, I think that's
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. So this would be something that we would, if we move forward, this would want to do in partnership, because we would also want to make sure there's a quality check, make sure it matches with the guide and the visuals, the typesetting. So it's a multi-step process, and we would just want to make sure that, again, that it's a good quality that's useful for your teams, but also everyone else in Nepal, and that it matches with the content of the original guide. So if you're interested in doing that, please feel free to reach out to me, and we could see what the possibilities are. But
okay, thank you.
We would want to do that in partnership.
Yeah, because especially for languages that we don't speak, and
yes,
don't speak Nepali, as Katja said, we always want to ensure quality, and then also that other partners can use it. So there are different ways to do this, but a partnership to assure quality and that it fits is the best to our experience, and then we can choose which method. And with that,
thank you.
Thank you for your good question. We have a bit of a FAQ also on the website that if you don't find it, and otherwise, please contact us anytime through this general email, mhmguide@washunited.org. And I hope you enjoyed the session. We made a recording that we will share afterwards as well with you. And again, apologies for the little technology glitch with the video in between. Still keep on learning with Zoom. And thank you so much. Thank you, our partners who spoke today, and everyone who implemented it. And we're really looking forward to partnering with you and bringing more education to girls around the world about menstruation. Thank you so much, and we wish you a good rest of the day.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to the next one.
Super.
Yeah.
Bye.